Okay, here I am. I am about ready to demonstrate actually using my chuck plate. I'm going to actually put a piece of wood on it that has not been mounted before and go ahead and turn a tenon on it. I'm also checking my microphone to see if it's picking up the music that I have in here. If it is, I'm sorry about that, but that can be changed in the future. But right now I'm gonna have to turn off the camera and go out and find me a piece of wood that I can use, unless this one here. No, that one's already been on the lathe. I think what I'll do is mount this one and do a natural edge. But first, of course, I'm not organized. That's the worst part. Got all my tools laying around. It's kind of hard for me to get a good natural edge when I've got a piece of wood that looks, it actually looks pretty good right there, but this side is not even. I've got my center should be right here, but I've got 5 inches over here that does not allow me to center. I can get tough and do this. Okay, I don't want that chuck plate. No, this one. All right, I gotta tuck my stuff in. I just got a new microphone, and all my other videos, they were so bad that I couldn't really hear. Sometimes even me doing the talking, I couldn't understand it. And right now, I'm not hearing where I'm making contact or making any sound. Okay, here we go. Sounded like it. It could be that this thing right here is just not positioned in my ear correctly. Okay. Chuck plate. I invented this thing in August of 2010. Could have been June, or could have been July, but August is when I made my first mention on one of the wood turning sites that I was on, that I made this thing, and I made it out of wood. And I made it out of wood because I had a piece that I really needed to, or wanted to turn. I didn't have a need. I don't have a need to turn anything. I'm not, turning is not my profession. It's just a hobby. It's something that I am fairly good at. I'm not going to say I'm real good. I'm just fairly good. But it was, I needed to turn a piece of wood, or wanted to turn a piece of wood, and I wanted to make something out of it. I had no way of holding it because there is no center in this wood. So I couldn't take, I was going to do a spindle. I could not take this thing and I couldn't take it and put it between, use a spur nor a live center. It wouldn't work. Actually, I'll take that back. The live center would have worked. I was using this live center right here, and I'll show you the piece. It's not the same one. It's a long ways from being the same one. Cholla. It's a local cactus that grows around here. It'll grow anywhere from, say a 12-inch base up to, it'll grow 12 feet tall, but it'll branch right around 5-6 feet if it's going to get that tall. That's where it will branch, or maybe it'll branch at 3 feet and then slowly grow and keep growing, but it'll go up to 12 feet tall. So sometimes the base, or the branch part, it'd be about 8 inches. The base part, it'd be anywhere from maybe 10 inches to 12. I've got one piece that's 14 inches, which has really surprised me. But anyway, this particular live center, yeah, that will work. You can just take and put it in here and do whatever. But up here, my spur, whoop, there goes one lost. My spur would not work because it's just gonna, oops. Hey, I never did that before. But anyway, there it is. You put it in one end and it comes out the other. So there's no way of mounting it. Face plates, the wood just will really not allow you to put holes in it, and I did not want to put another hole because look, it's got a million holes as it is. Dang. Boy, I sure hope I don't do anything dangerous today. I'm going to hurt myself. But anyway, it's got enough holes, and there's no need to put any more, especially the wrong type of holes. So I wanted to turn something like this, and I just didn't have anything. So I went found myself a piece of hard maple that I had laying around here somewhere. It's about 6 inches OD. And so I made one out of wood. This is not. This is Baltic birch because I figured that was a little bit better. Well, it was okay, except I was using hardwood maple for my tenons. I glue them together. And what ended up happening is the screws I started using were drywall screws. They kept breaking, so I graduated to sheet metal screws and with number 8s, and then they kept I kept going up size, and finally I went to these Tapcons, those blue screws that you see. They're about 3/16 to almost a 1/4 inch OD, I believe. But what happened on this particular one, I was too close to the edge and I broke out my tenon. So I was looking around. In the meantime, I'd called a lathe manufacturer and said, hey man, I got this really neat idea. You guys interested? And I told him what it was, and I says, you can't really make them out of wood because nobody would buy them. And he says, what? And I says, maybe metal. Oh no, you can't use metal in these chucks. They just won't hold. And so, okay, so he discouraged me on the metal. So about another year, I finally went ahead and I had a big piece of aluminum. I made 3 of them. And this one right here is not one, but the one that was on here at the beginning. This is probably this could be chuck plate number 1, it could be number 3. I made 3 out of that one piece of aluminum I had. So I made it, I used it, and it created some issues because you can't find the screws that I used right here. You couldn't put a sheet metal screw into a piece of aluminum. And I didn't like that idea. I'd rather have a tap screw. And it turns out that the tapped screws work just fine because you can adjust. So you've got almost 1 inch of adjustment from the face of the chuck plate to the point. So you've got almost 1 inch of adjustment to mount your pieces. Okay, so now I'm going to turn this piece, and I am going to center it. I probably should come up with a fairly good looking piece. And I'm going to move the camera down just a little tiny bit so you can see that right there. You don't really need to see me. Isn't that hat nice? Okay. My center on this is going to be, I've got a piece that's 9 inches long. So 4.5 inches. And here I use a pencil on this dark piece of wood. I'm not going to bother trying to find my center across because it's not centered. So I'm going to take my highest point and put my point of my life or chuck plate into that. But before that, I'm going to take back some of these screws because they're out too far. And so this is how easy this stuff is. Now, when I sell these, I supply a ball end bit, but the jaws interfere. And most of the times, I will use my jaw split. I call this the split where the jaws come together. So you got jaw number 4, jaw number 1, that space that's in between them. I call that the split. So I use that to use most of the time, but not always. So I've got my center on the length. And I'm going to bring my center up about right here. Of course, not prepared again. Okay, we're going to try this one more time. Yeah, I will find my center back and forth. I didn't do that, and I should have. Jesus Christ. If something's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong. And like I said, I hope I don't do anything too dangerous today. 4.5. Here's my tenon marking jig that I designed, made. It works real good. Okay, my tenon's going to go on the back side. I've got my center located over here. And that looks pretty good there. Now, I just sold one of these to a guy on one of the clubs that I belong to, and of all the people I sold, I'll say this, there's at least 45 people, maybe 50 people in the country, and I think one guy in Australia that has them. The guy in Australia did mention something. That was good. The guy that I just sold it to on one of the sites, I'll say Lumberjocks site, he even promised to endorse it, or not promised, but asked me if I wanted him to endorse it. Yes, I do. But of all these other people, and I've sold probably 30 of those 50 and given the other 10 away, or 20 away, given them to them. Not a word, man. They just clammed up. So I'm trying to make this, and I want to get a good video and get it out. And if I got somebody saying that they've used it and like it, then I'm ahead, maybe. I'd love to sell these things. But the biggest problem is my videos are really bad. As you can see, I'm always dropping stuff. Okay, I'm only going to use the 4 screws, maybe 5 screws on here. Come on. Okay, that's it. Now I'm going to bring the camera over so you can see what that looks like. I have to watch what I'm doing because I've got all kinds of stuff here. That's what it looks like. So what I've got is, of the 5 center screws, I've got 4 of them actually holding. And then I got these 2 right here. And then I have 3 here. So 4, 3, and 2 is 9. 9 screws doing the job. I sure hope the sound was working, because I can now hear myself. Okay. Yep, it doesn't work over here, so apparently it is working, and the speakers are probably canceling out. I have to take this off anyway because I can't have that in my ear. I've got to have my plugs. So you'll see, nothing will fly unless my tailstock, I don't lock down my tailstock. If it creeps back, that's the only time that this will fly out of here. Now, I hope I have that centered correctly, because it would be bad if it is so off-centered. It's butt ugly. But it's a demo anyway. All right, gotta have the hat. That's my hard hat. I have to get the thing stretched because it's shrunk up and it won't stay on my head. Okay. Every turning rule that you hear is probably violated by me. I don't do it on purpose. It's just I'm comfortable turning the way I do. And some people might cringe. Well, you find your own niche that works out really good for you, and you adhere to that. And what I do, it works comfortably for me. Only one time have I been injured turning, and it took 9 stitches in my head. And that's because a piece of wood separated, crotch wood, and it separated, and decided it wanted to bounce off the wall of my house and get me. Okay. Okay. I got to move a couple of things because they don't need to be here. Okie dokie. It's been about 4 or 5 days since I've done any turnings. I might have forgotten how. Okay, I gotta see about something here. I want to get my tool rest closer, but I don't want to hit my banjo. Okay. I'm going to get that piece out of there. It's starting to shake. All right, we'll do it some more. I know all the rules in wood turning is pretty much, if you're going to turn, you want to always turn from the outside in towards the middle, towards your tenon. And here I am, I'm pulling back. I'm more comfortable that way. It's probably cutting uphill, and you're supposed to cut downhill or turn downhill or whatever it is. I just don't really adhere to too many rules because some of them don't work for me. Look at my hands. That tells you how they work. Okay, one thing that every turner should do when they walk into their, wherever they turn, their little shop, wax up your steady rest, or not steady rest, but your tool rest. Wax the bottom of your tool if you think you need to. It just makes life so much easier. And I always, I like a tough life, I guess. Okay. The wood's got some nice, couple of small features in it that look pretty good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get a tenon turned on this. Okay, this is how this is used. I'm not ready for it yet. I wonder if I tighten my chuck. Something's making a noise. It wasn't tight. Dang. 70 years old. So let's blame it on senility. Oh. Okay. All right. Now I've got my tenon marked. That's as simple as that gets. I don't think you can see that from the... Yeah, there you go. There's my mark right there. That's a real simple little tool that I made. And I like it. Now I gotta put this in my pocket to keep it clean. I'm going to have to go faster to get past the vibration. Now I'm probably running about 2,000. I haven't raised my tool rest, is why I'm having the problems with that that I was. Okay, there are no more issues with that. I don't think I'm going to stand over there like I did before. Right where I'm starting my cut, there's daylight. A lot of daylight. As you can see how well that chuck plate's holding. I haven't done anything to it to make it any better than what it is. I'm going to try to get my lathe set up. Damn. Oh. Terrible to be old. I lost my earbud. I'll put that in my pocket. I don't need it anywhere but I don't want to get it caught. Okay. If I was smart, I would have taken this over to my bandsaw and trimmed it round. But I don't know exactly how I want to make this yet, so I might leave the I might want to leave these edges on it. Unfortunately, I think the bark is going to fly off of here, so. But then again, it's holding real good up here. But I don't know what I'm going to do just yet with those ends. So right now I got a shape going I've never done before on a natural edge that I've ever done. I wish I hadn't torn off that little bit of bark right there. I'm going to measure and see how much distance I have. I've got 3.5 inches there, and over here I got 3 1/4. So somehow I've got to remove 1/4 inch off of this side to even this up, to center it. Now there is a way. Let's rethink this. Now 3.5 inches there. I've already have a tenon, but that doesn't mean a thing because that tenon can be taken out and put another tenon in. So I've got 3.5, 3 3/8, or 3 1/8, 3 1/8. Okay. This is something that I rarely do, but my chuck plate was praised by a couple of people when I sent them the wood pieces, the wood ones, saying how unique it was that you could do this. You could reposition your piece without an issue. All right. I'm not even going to bother checking the front over here because it's still there. It's all locked in. Okay, you can see how bad it is. No big deal. I hope it's no big deal. Let me take a look. Yeah, my live center is hanging on a half a tenon or half a nub that I have right there. I'm going to go for it. If I lose it, it's going to be right here. It's not going to come off. It's not going to be because this didn't hold. It's going to be because that is not strong, sturdy enough. Right there. You can see what I have right there. So about a half a tenon or half a half a nub. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm going to clean that up and then run my tenon size. I am going to lift my tool rest. I'm using a skew on the side to clean that up. Okay. Now this demo that I'm doing right here is just basically a demo. I really don't plan on making anything. If I lose it, I don't care, but I do care that it'll show that my tool is not holding. And I know my tools will hold. I just hope that holds. All right, let's see here. When you're using your parting tool in the right position, it works good. Okay. All right, that looks fair. More than likely, I'm too large. Nope, I got myself a tenon. All right, you saw how it was mounted, and oops, in my back pocket. I'm going to take it off. I'm going to pull the tailstock away. Let's see if you can see if it stays like it does sometimes. Yep. Oh, nope, it's wanting to come off. That's how easy or how well it holds. It doesn't take a whole lot. Okay. Now I make my tenons and I leave that nub if I can because that's my center mark, my dimple. But I also make it small so it goes inside the center hole of that chuck. And that center hole will close down to about a 1/2 inch, I believe. But with the 2 1/4 inch tenon that I made, it probably closes down to about 13/16.